Welcome to the latest edition of DHNN by Team Foxtrot. I'm your host, Andrew Reed. On today's episode, we have an interview with Principal Mr. Tebow and Assistant Principal Mr. Shea. We'll be talking with Mr. Gia about future plans for the esports room. Finally, who is Ryanology? We found out. Dartmouth High news starts now. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. To start off, let's get the info on this week's announcements. Cafe Tuesday. Come get your coffee and baked goods with your favorite friends in the PALS program. Order form is in the description below. Principal Tebow has some important updates for us.
Good morning, I'm Principal Ross Tebow, and I'm here to talk about some important safety protocols for back to school. With this new Omicron variant, which is highly transmissible, it's extremely important that all of our students come to school each day with a mask that fits properly. We want students to have their mask snugly fit over their nose and mouth at all times. And again, the expectation is that they're coming to school with a mask from home. If for any reason they need a mask throughout the course of the day, we do have extra on hand and can provide them to students. But the expectation is that they're bringing them from home and that they're in full compliance with our masking mandate throughout the day. Also, for parents and guardians and students, if a student has symptoms and is not feeling well, please keep them home for the day and call our nurses and they can walk you through next steps. It's extremely important that if a student isn't feeling well, that they stay home for the day and that we err on the side of caution. I know as we go into year 2 or 3 of this pandemic that people are weary and tired. We will get through this. We will get through this together, but we need your cooperation in order to keep everyone healthy and well. So again, masks are essential, as well as erring on the side of caution should you have any symptoms. When students do have to be out of school because either they're a close contact or they themselves are sick, it's important to remember that our teachers are updating Google Classroom, meaning that they're putting any resources, any assignments that students can do from home into Google Classroom so students can try and stay current and up to date. Again, that's provided they feel well enough to do so. Students, when they do return to school, will have time to make up any missed assignments, and our teachers will coordinate with them. We do have the PACE period each and every day that can be used by students to catch up once they return or to get additional help and support upon their return. So it's important to keep in mind that if students are out and they feel able, they can log on to Google Classroom, try and stay current in their class as best they can. And when they do return, students should make plans with their teachers directly and make full use of the PACE period in order to do so.
Let's look at the upcoming weather for this week.
I'm Matthew, and I'm with you for this week's weather. For Monday, it's going to be partly cloudy with the high of 34 and a low of 15. For Tuesday, it's going to be sunny with the high of 18 and a low of 11. For Wednesday, it's going to be partly cloudy with the high of 32 and a low of 25. For Thursday, it's going to be partly cloudy with the high of 39 and a low of 31. For Friday, it's going to be snowy with a high of 38 and a low of 29. For Saturday, it's going to be partly cloudy with a high of 38 and a low of 28. And Sunday, it will be sunny with a high of 36 and a low of 25. Back to you.
Now it's time for this week's lunch show. Monday's lunch will be a double grilled cheese sandwich. Tuesday's lunch will be a popcorn chicken bowl. Wednesday we will have a grab and go lunch. Thursday's lunch will be buffalo chicken dip. And Friday's lunch will be a breakfast sandwich. Mr. Giat, the advisor for the esports team, has some great news. A new esports room. Let's take an exclusive tour.
Hey, I'm Mr. Giat. I run the gaming club with Mr. Bosworth, and this is our space where we meet on Tuesdays. Every Tuesday we meet after school for about an hour or so, and we just casually come in, talk, play games. I think this last Tuesday we had about 10 kids. That number kind of fluctuates here and there, but this is a space that we really want to develop for kids to come after school, to enjoy themselves playing games, talking about games. We don't got too much going on in here right now, but we're looking to improve the space. We got some TVs that were donated, big screen TV, a couple other TVs. We got some computers in here. We won a Nintendo Switch for the school, so we have Nintendo Switch and Super Smash Brothers, so kids are playing that. And we also have some grant money that we're going to be spending pretty soon to try to liven this up a bit. We're thinking about putting up some like LED strip lights to create a little bit of an ambiance. Possibly getting some more gaming systems, some more games, maybe some furniture, couch, beanbags, something like that, just to really make this a really enjoyable space. I know Mr. Bosworth had even talked about building like a retro arcade cabinet. So just more games for kids to play, but we really want it to be run by the kids. So we want more kids to come in here and give their input on what they want out of this room. But for now, it's a pretty cool space where we're playing and talking about games.
Assistant Principal Mr. Shea has some club news for us.
Welcome everyone to our Club and Activity Spotlight. Today we have two co-presidents of DECA, so let's introduce yourselves.
I'm Alexa Pereira, and I'm a co-president of DECA. I've been involved for 4 years.
I'm Sophie Waite. I am the other co-president, and I have also been involved for 4 years.
Great, so just an overview, if one of you guys wants to explain what is DECA, and we can dive into a little bit more after that.
Well, DECA is basically a competition-based club where you go into the competition and you are given an interview and you are judged on your response to the prompt for that interview. It's one-on-one with a judge, and as you go through the levels you can compete at bigger stadiums and with bigger groups. You start at districts and then you go to states, and some people get to go to nationals.
Yeah, there are also more specific categories, so they focus on big clusters of the business world. They have management, they have hospitality, they have marketing, and they have finance. Those are kind of the 4 overarching tiers, and then there's entrepreneurship, but then it trickles down into smaller, individual, more specified categories that you can then go into.
Great. So do you compete as an individual or as a team or a little of A and B?
You have a choice, so you can compete as an individual in tons of the categories. Most of the categories are individual, but then they also have team decision-making events where those are specific ones as well, where you can compete with somebody else.
Great. And what are you guys going to be competing in when your competition happens?
I'll be doing individual hospitality and tourism management.
And then I'm an individual human resource management.
Great.
I do not believe we have any teams competing this
No,
year.
we don't have any teams competing this year.
Oh, excellent. Okay. So in the past we've had teams, in the past we haven't.
Yes,
Yeah.
usually it's a pretty, I'd say it's 1/3 teams, 2/3 not teams.
Teams is a lot more tricky to deal with. I know people hear teams and they think easier because you're working with your friends, but you really have to be able to bounce ideas off of each other and run with it with each other. And it's really hard to be on the same page with something that's so sporadic and so fast paced where it can just change when you're having the conversation with the judge. So we usually leave teams for more like advanced people or people who are seniors or juniors and have done it before.
Generally we want people to have done at least an individual by themselves, and this year we didn't have really anyone other than the seniors who had done an individual in person, who could then go into a team. So that was one of the reasons, and we weren't sure how with COVID, so at the beginning of the year we did really advise against teams.
And just now you can tell you're able to have very intelligent conversations. You should be proud of where you're at. I'm sure you're all going to do great, and we're proud of you. We'll be sending you really good luck on the 11th, no matter where or how you do it. And then hopefully we get to cheer you on and have another interview about you guys going on to the state level.
Perfect.
Thank you for coming down and talking about DECA.
Thank you.
Junior Ryan Aruda is the host of his very own talk show, Ryanology. Reporter Ethan Lima had a chance to speak with him about his show.
Welcome back, Dartmouth High School. My name is Ryan Aruda, and I'm your host of Ryanology.
Hello. Today on the show we have Junior Ryan Aruda, who you might recognize from Ryanology.
Hi, as Ethan said, my name is Ryan Aruda. I run a student-hosted show called Ryanology, where we interview different guest hosts, and we have some new stuff coming up soon. But yeah, I'm a junior here at Dartmouth High, and I'm very happy to be here for this interview today.
Thank you, Ryan. Can you tell us a little bit of the things that you're involved in outside of this?
Sure. I'm in the Dartmouth High School indoor percussion and marching band, where I play the marimba and the front ensemble. I do have a job of myself, but besides school and band, that's really all that, besides, you know, my show as well with Ryanology.
So how did you get started with this, your own talk show?
So it actually came after Kate and Lisa's Afternoon After School. He kind of phased his TV show out, and they needed a new student show. And me and Mr. Prodywine talking in conversation, and that's how Ryanology kind of came about. It was thoughts at the end of my sophomore year, and it really, you know, flourished in my junior year, where now we're doing things that I never really would have imagined coming into the high school, 3 years back now.
Who are some of the people that you've interviewed in the show, and what can we expect in the future?
I've interviewed Principal Ross Tebow, when talking about COVID rules. I've interviewed Mr. Shea at the beginning of this school year. I interviewed some band students, as well as Mr. Higgins for Poetry Out Loud. Really, what we try to do at Ryanology is we try to interview people with different events going on, or if there's a big program through the school, we will try to interview something like an administrator. We try to keep the students and staff connected while focusing on different interviews, but in the future, You're going to see different segments from different students across the high school. I know a few seniors, Ashton Perry and Ace, they'll be having their own segment soon, which will be really fantastic. And I'd like to kind of broaden our scope a little bit. I've tried reaching out to some people across the world to interview, so I really want to try to make Ryanology not just a local thing. I want to try to make it a little bit bigger, have different segments, you know, just kind of make it a more enjoyable time and have more people involved.
It's great. It's amazing to see it expand and become bigger than what it was when it started.
Exactly. You know, at the beginning, it was a small idea. You know, we didn't really know where we were going with it. Not really much of a staff, but now starting to see the whole show come together. You are actually an editor now on that. Kind of building our own little Ryanology world, as you might call it. Yeah, it's really fantastic.
Amazing. Well, it was a pleasure getting a chance to sit down and talk with you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ethan.
Thank you.
That's all for our very last regular show of this semester. Tune in next time for our big behind-the-scenes look of how we produced DHNN since October, filled with interviews, lost footage, and everybody's favorite blooper outtakes. Smash that subscribe button so you don't miss it. Have a healthy and safe week, Dartmouth.